Welcome to Portrait of an Artist. I'm your host, Tom Greco. Tonight my guest will be singer-composer Jerry Tolvey. Welcome to the show, Jerry.
Thanks, Tom. It's good to be back here at William Patterson College, my alma mater.
You went to William Patterson College?
For 4.5 long years, you might say that. I just got out 2 years ago. I feel like I never left.
What were you studying?
Not a whole lot. I wasn't doing a lot of studying when I was here. But I did meet a lot of important people. I spent 4.5 years taking classical voice lessons. And I learned a lot about music, even though I didn't, like I said, I wasn't a great student. But I did learn a lot about music in the meantime and met a lot of important people who later became members of my band and got me started in the field that I'm in right now.
When did you first realize that you wanted to get into the music business?
Well, when you say business, that's another story. I always wanted to be into music ever since I was a little kid watching the Beatles on Ed Sullivan or anything like that. I'm sure it was like every kid's dream to get a guitar or piano and just become like the next superstar. But when you say business, that's more of a thing where money got involved. I got to the point where I thought I would like to do that for money if there was an outlet. If I can find a way to actually do what I really like and then be successful making money at it, sure, why not do that? So I would say it would have to be right in high school years that I actually started singing for money.
Have you handled the business end?
Basically, that's all I do right now besides singing is business. When I'm not singing, I'm taking phone calls and generally ripping the public off for all the money I can.
Supposedly there's a lot of cutthroats in the music business.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of cutthroats. I don't consider myself a cutthroat. I play a lot of weddings. There's probably a lot of people out there right now who may have seen me at their weddings. I have been doing weddings for the last 5 years with a band called About Time. And we play everywhere in the tri-state area every weekend when I'm not playing at a club with a duo. I usually play at a club 5 nights a week with a duo. And when I'm not with them on Saturday afternoons and Sundays, I still do weddings, which is still my bread and butter.
When did you first start playing for money?
Really good money, you might say, started in college. I say good money to a student. Playing a weekend wedding was, if you did one wedding, I'd come home with $100 to $150 for 4 hours work. And then if I did 2 or 3 weddings on the weekend, I was doing okay, especially for a student.
You have to play all the standards at the wedding, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I don't really mind. I love a lot of the old music. One of my favorites of all time is Frank Sinatra, Johnny Mathis. So I'm used to playing all the old standards. As a matter of fact, that's one of the main reasons I'm in a club I am at for 6 months out of a year is because I do a lot of the old standards where somebody my age, being that I'm 24, I usually don't look it at night with dark lighting on, but I do know a lot of the old music because I have an extensive collection of albums from Sinatra and Mathis. So of course, like when I get to a wedding, I'm used to some clown coming up to me saying, "And now the end is near." I'm used to it, you know.
Can you give us an example? Say something you'd play at a wedding. Give us the one that you hear the most.
A little cha-cha, yes, we'll do it for your aunt, no problem. Okay, next set. We got a lot of cha-chas, merengues, which I still haven't learned after 4.5 years. I still don't know how to do merengue. Disco, it seems that certain disco songs never seem to die.
Celebration.
Celebration, right? You know somebody's aunt is going to get up and dance to that and start a wild party. The disco things like Fame and all things like that, there becomes certain standards within our pop music that just seems to be repeating itself. Besides some of those, you're always going to get songs like Misty, things like that. You know, I do a couple imitations. I do something like Johnny Mathis. I ham it up sometimes, you know, it depends.
Ham it up, Joe.
Look I am as helpless as a king, and I feel like, well, you know.
You know,
I
certain
heard-
things like that go over great at weddings. I mean, even in a club you can do that, but it's not like a thing you would do all the time, or else you'd probably get laughed out of the place. But it does work. I mean, if you have a captive audience, such as a wedding, I mean, that's all you need, you know, is that one big audience there. They
Besides-
can't go no place.
Besides the people you've mentioned, what are some of your other influences? Or who are some of your other influences?
Let's see. Well, being a child of the 60s, I'd have to say my first and biggest influence, of course, was the Beatles. From the Beatles, I mean, I can remember singing in my backyard. Beatles, and believe it or not, another influence was church, going to church every Sunday with my parents, listening to my grandmother and my mother singing something which I didn't know what to call it. It was called harmony. I thought they were singing the wrong note because I knew it wasn't the melody note, so it'd be like, and they were going underneath it, so it'd be, Ma, you're singing the wrong note. No, I'm not. This is called harmony. So that's when I found out another influence of music was there's more to music than what one hears, you know, just the main melody that we might hear. Beside going to church and singing all the hymns and the Beatles, when I got through grade school, I started taking piano lessons by force. And I'm a teacher now, I'm a piano teacher. It's a good idea to force your children into a culture, not just because I need the money, but to the fact that it also does give them another outlet to get into. I was forced at an age of like 7 or 8. I really hated it. It used to give me headaches every night. I would, like, you know, my mother would say, practice. I say, I can't. I just don't want to. And the more and more I practiced, the more and more I just didn't like it. And it was basically because I wasn't doing any of the songs I really liked. So I stopped taking lessons after about 3 years. And right after I stopped taking lessons, I knew certain people still said, hey, Jerry, you play a little piano. Why don't you come up and, you know, play something? And then one day in 8th grade, some girl who I was semi-interested in at the time, you know, those 8th grade romances, she was pretty turned on to the fact that I knew how to play something, you know. And just by the fact that I played it and sang, most of the other kids in the class were pretty impressed. So from there, I started getting back into music a little. I listened to a lot of different artists. From my favorites back then were the Beatles still, but I got into another group, Chicago, and my main idol, Stevie Wonder. And
Do a little Stevie first. Go ahead.
okay, I will. I'll do a little James Taylor and all well, I'll give you a little rundown of some of the things I do in a routine. I need sunglasses for Stevie, but I could do a little for you right here.
You are the sunshine of my life. That's why I love you around. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
It goes on. You know, I just
Very impressive. Very
it's
impressive.
you know, it's a lot of that kind of nonsense. I used to do a lot of imitations just for the sake of doing somebody that somebody else wasn't doing, like Cat Stevens. I used to do a lot. I was playing a ground round circuit, like when I got out of college with a duo, and I was doing things like.
Now that I've lost everything to you, you say I wanna start something new. Oh, and it's breaking my heart that you're leaving. Oh, baby, I'm grieving.
Where you got that kind of rap, that sound in you was like, you know, that kind of sound. And then I did a lot of other mellow tunes, like by James Taylor and stuff, where he'd be like, well, 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 you know, it's all like, he'd pick up different inflections from different singers. And the person I learned a lot from, believe it or not, was Frank Sinatra because of his phrasing. He just seemed to let notes go on forever and just say the right thing at the right time.
Do you do Sinatra?
No, it's tough. The only person I know that really does them is Piscopo.
Joe Piscopo. Yeah.
I don't try to do them. I take his style, you know, to an extent. A lot of times when I'm doing something like My Way, people say, "Oh, gee, that was a great Sinatra," and I could have been doing it like Elvis. So I mean, you know, there again is another one of my kind of different influences. Somebody like Elvis, he had that deep.
Wise men say only fools rush in, for I can help falling in love with you.
And then if you heard me, My Way be.
And now the end is near.
So, I mean, you can find a mix somewhere in between it. You know, there would be a little Elvis creeping in, a little Sinatra creeping in. I don't know. I tend to think I have my own voice, but sometimes I really don't. I find myself copying too much from other people.
Besides doing other people's songs, you also a writer of your own songs.
Well, I've been writing since I came to William Patterson, believe it or not. It all started back in one of my many boring classes. I shouldn't say that. It's not that
You're
it
doing
was
a lot
boring.
for the William Patterson College
You
community.
know, I
you
shouldn't say that. Sorry. I just, I was in, I don't remember what class it was. I probably do, but I wouldn't say it on TV. But I was in a class, and whatever the teacher was saying wasn't enough to keep my attention because I had a lot on my mind. And I started writing. Matter of fact, I even brought this little notebook in tonight. It's one of those kind William Patterson, you know, buy it right here in the bookstore. And I had this little notebook on my table, and I said, well, I can't seem to be thinking about this. I'm thinking more about my girlfriend or whatever. And I just started getting into poetry, trying rhymes, different rhymes. And from the rhymes, I'd get into a song form. I'd be tapping things out on my desk, and I'd be like, And the more I'd do that, the more I'd get ideas, and that's how believe it or not, I really started writing. I'd take the lyrics home and then try to put music to it.
So the lyrics come first.
They did for a while. Now I'm not always into lyrics anymore first. Now I'm more into what I call the Hall & Oates method of writing. It's the, we put on a rhythm box. I have a very, I should say, advanced rhythm box for the average musician. It's a MXR digital drum box. And even though I'm not very good at programming it, I have somebody like a drummer program it for me. And what that does is it'll set me up with any kind of beat I want. So once I have a beat down, I could put the beat down and it'll go do 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 something like that. So if I have that playing, then I can actually go to the piano and go. Now once I do that, I have a little studio at home and I can put down a bass line such as I just played. And then after I have that, I can lay something on top of it. And that's how I'm creating now. And that's what I call the Hall & Oates method of creating, which is great, although I don't believe it's really bringing out that much creative actual writing in the sense of, like, I have this idea, I'm going to do it there. This is more spontaneous from the beat. Here's the beat, and then I'm writing around the beat, which is what a lot of music today is, though. It's dance music concerned with the beat.
Where do you get your ideas from? Real-life experiences, fantasies?
Good question. Let's see, I better play it safe on this one. I'm getting married in June, and no, my fiance was a big, big incentive for some of my writing. Some other songs I take, like right now I'm writing a song, She Got Married Too Young, which I'm in the middle of, and I don't have any music for it. I have almost all the lyrics, and I'm really singing it. When I'm hearing it through my mind, I'm actually hearing a girl singing it. So it's really not me. I'm singing it through like another person. Otherwise, it's mostly life experience and what it could be a little fantasy. Or I may have a new way I write. I heard Billy Joel say something about getting a hook, which is a line that you think will sell. So I just finished a song that was called Lay It on the Line. Now one night, like around 3:30 in the morning, I was just sitting in bed, and for some reason that was in my mind, lay it on the line. I don't know for what reason, but I took that line, ran it over my head a couple of times, different rhythms, and after I got that comfortable feeling with it, I brought it with a drum machine and started picking it out. So it'll be lay it on the line, lay it on the line. I tried a whole mess of different ways till I got it, and that's basically what I'm doing now. I'm finding different hooks and then trying to send it through the hook.
You're going to play one of your own compositions right now.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to play you a song right now that I wrote for my fiance just last month. It's called Who Can Ask for More?
Once in a lifetime, you find that someone who feels the way you do. The one who understands all your feelings, wants to spend their life with you. Well, I found the girl that I've always dreamed of, one I've always waited for. Now she is mine and I feel so lucky. Who could ask for more? She loves me more and more. Who could ask for more? Could ask for more than what she's giving. She makes my life worth living. Every day she loves me more and more. Who could ask for more? Well, I always figured tomorrow will turn out just like the day before. She came along and told me I'd never be lonely anymore. She said she'd stay by my side forever until I was old and gray. She promised that she would never leave me till her dying day. Who could ask for more than what she's giving? She loves me more and more. Who could ask for more? Who could ask for more than what she's giving? She makes my life worth living. Every day she loves me more and more. Who could ask for more?
Very good, Jack.
Thank you. I just wrote, that's a song typical that I wrote just on the piano. You might say there's a little Elton John influence, little parts here and there you steal from different performers you admire. It's not the kind of song I thought would be commercially successful and the kind of song I'd want to sell. By the way, it's just the kind of thing I thought I'd like to give as a gift.
Do you write with others?
I don't make a habit of it, but I really do enjoy writing with others, especially when somebody is bouncing an idea off me and it gives me more incentive to be creative. I feel that a friend of mine who also graduated from William Patterson, we influence each other. His name's Tom Hammer. He's very good with like a funk kind of rhythm, and he's gotten to the point now where he uses the Hall & Oates method, like I called it, of writing around a beat. And like one day he came over to my house, and on my little 4-track studio, what he did was he put down a drum beat and a rhythm section, which is just, you know, the music, no melody, no words. I made a copy of it on cassette and rode back and forth to work for 2 nights, which takes me a half hour getting to work and getting back from work. Heard it enough times where I thought I had a melody out of it and actual line, and wrote a song that way, which is interesting. My guitar player from my band came over one day. The same thing happened. He laid down a rhythm track. The next night I had words and music for it. So it's interesting. That's one of my new ways that I'd like to do more, but I don't do enough of.
Would you rather collaborate or would you rather write alone?
It's not that I would either want to do one or the other. I just take it whenever it comes. I wish I had more time for writing. Right now I'm writing a lot more because I have the time. I'm only working 2-3 nights a week now, as compared to in March I'll be working 5 nights a week, probably 6 nights a week again. So I have a little time right now, besides looking for a house.
Do you consider this a job now? I mean, do you like do other things besides this, or is it still your main release? Or do you have other ways of...
Well, this is my living. This is how I make a living. I love what I do. I wouldn't want to trade it in for what, you know, mom or somebody else would say, a normal job. Why don't you get a normal job, you know? I am doing financially okay. I don't think I look at it more as a job as somebody else who had to wake up every morning, go to work. I work at night usually, which isn't always the greatest because my social life isn't that great, but there's other rewards to it. I'm also a night person. I like to be out. Sometimes I like to be the center of attention. It just makes me feel good.
Being that you work at night, as most musicians do, what does a musician do during the day?
Glad you asked.
Besides sleep.
Sleep. If my mother and father out there, they could attest to this. I usually wake up around, well, I used to wake up for Love Boat or Partridge Family at 11, but I mean, that's impossible now. I get up at 12:30 usually, which is bad. But lately I've been getting up a little bit earlier to take care of some recording. And then after I do a little recording, I go out and look for houses or real estate, whatever, being that I'm getting married this June. So I'm pretty busy right now.
I know that you're a big record collector, and you
Yeah.
go searching for them at garage sales. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I don't know who told you that, but I've done extensive collecting at garage sales. I have a collection of Sinatra records right now. I don't know how many he actually has out, but I have 78 different Sinatra albums, and then if you count doubles, I have 100 and I'd say 15 or 16. And I used to work at Harmony Hut in Willowbrook, which helped me out with some of the albums. Of course, I got a big extension from there because you get them cheap. And then garage sales, people are giving away $30 albums for a quarter or so. So, of course, I collected whatever I can.
All right, I'd like to try something new for you. Let's play a little word association. I'll name some musical figures. You just tell me what comes to mind. Okay?
All right, it's your show.
Paul McCartney.
The long and winding road.
Elvis Presley. It doesn't necessarily have to be a song.
They're all songs. That's how I think in songs.
Okay.
Well, since my baby left me, found a little place to dwell, down at the end of the lonely street, heartbreak hotel I get.
This one I gotta see you do. Beethoven.
Skip past. I did 4.5 years here. I'm finished with the classics.
Okay. Stevie Wonder.
Stevie right now, I'm not crazy about his new song that's on the radio now, but that's what's been in my mind because I saw him on an interview today, live at 5, doing I just called to say I love you. And, you know, I just picture his neck going back and forth like this.
Bob Dylan. It's a tricky one. Huh?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Lay Lady Lay, probably.
Chuck
Lay
Berry.
Lady Lay. Chuck Berry, Real Nana Rockin'. It's just songs that come to my mind. Chuck Berry, I just picture in his famous stance doing a duck walk.
Mick Jagger.
Well, stop me up! I'll never stop.
Frank Sinatra.
And now, start spreading the news.
John Lennon. Have you sung with anyone famous?
Have I sung with anyone famous? Not hired. I have an interesting story. I don't know how much time we have left in the show, but I'll try to make it quick, short, and sweet.
Okay, we have time.
I had free tickets to go see Stevie Wonder down in Atlantic City with my friend Steve Lucas, whose father plays a lot of blackjack down there, and he got a couple free tickets. And well, to make a long story short, we went down there, had a free dinner, got the best seats in the house, walked in before everybody else, and they sat us right in front of his piano, which to me was like being in heaven. It was like a dream come true. Here's me and here's my idol, right where you're sitting. And
That's one thing me and Stevie have in common.
there I was, sitting the whole concert like Stevie in my living room, and second to last song of the night, he did Ebony and Ivory, which isn't one of my favorite songs, but right before he did it, he asked in the audience, he said, is there anybody out there who can sing? I'm going to need a little help on this. I have the need for 2 or 3 singers to come up and help me. So before he even ended the sentence, I was sitting right next to him on his piano stool. Right there I was in heaven, right next to Stevie. And to make a long story short, he introduced everybody, and I started the song, and then he started singing. Another girl sang, another guy sang, and then we were all singing together. And then at the end of the song, being that I was sharing the same exact microphone with Stevie, Stevie was at one piano, and his other keyboard players were with the other people, so I felt like really important. Here I was in front of this big crowd at Resorts with Stevie Wonder singing Ebony and Ivory, and I am white and he's black. It was interesting. And I just happened to know the Paul McCartney harmony, and being that he was listening to me because I was with him, he just sat at the piano like this, and he moved over like this and let me sing, which made me feel right at home. Now my guitar player was standing right behind me. He said, "Start showing off, do something to get noticed." So I just started going wild at the end. I go, "Ebony, Ivory." Stevie loved it, and he just went like this and let me go. He goes, "Go ahead." So I just took over. From there, I got off stage. Everybody came up to me and thought I was planted in the audience. So from there, I just, it was like a natural high. I was just, wow, I can't believe it. So all these people were coming up to me all during the night. They said, "Wow, you were great. You know, do you do this every night with Stevie?" I said, "Yeah, I wish I did." But to make a long, like I said, from there I went down to casino, lost a quick $100, and had to get my head back together because I was floating. I couldn't think straight because all these people were coming up to me. And then I just went ahead and won. It was a great
Funny
night.
story.
Yeah.
Jerry, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Portrait of an Artist.
Thanks for having me. It was a
And,
pleasure being here.
You have a song to go out on for us? Take
Sure.
us out?
Okay.
All right. Jerry Tovey.
Why did I make you cry again? We used to be the best of friends. Days were so short, the time flew by. Didn't mean to make you cry. Now at night I feel so alone. Keep on waiting by the telephone. So many things I want to say to you. Even though I wouldn't believe that they're true. But how can I tell you that I love you? How can I show you that I care? How can I tell you that I need you when you are in here? Love and feeling that we shared was great. Please don't tell me now it's too late. Couldn't bear to see you with someone new. Darling, you would break my